Alright, hello and welcome to the third episode of Reviews from the Crawl Space. I'm Douglas.
And I'm Vicky.
And a quick little background on our video experience here was that I was gifted or inherited my father's vinyl collection. This vinyl collection probably stretches back 40 years or so. We realized that when we were cataloging these, especially me, I had not listened to this collection before. Because the majority of these albums I had never heard. So we thought while we were doing the cataloging that we would go through and make a video and do reviews and talk about the albums and the quality and such. And here we are. The first few episodes we had reviewed albums that weren't part of the original collection. And I think today might be the very first time we have all three from the original collection.
Cool. And there's some good ones.
And finally, there's some good ones. Ones that, oh, yes, okay.
So the three albums today are The Guess Who, Share the Land, Van Halen,
Fair Warning,
and Paul Simon's Greatest Hits,
etc. First up, Share the Land. Fun fact here, right off the top, people don't realize, is that as a Canadian, you're issued this at birth. If you're born between a certain amount of time, the 70s, you were issued this, you were popped out, and you were given this. I'm actually excited about an album here. Let's go.
Okay, so just for those of you who aren't familiar with The Guess Who, which, have you been living under a rock?
I'll be fair, they could be American or newly Canadian. They might not know, but
okay.
Generally, I agree. This is classic rock at its most classic rockish.
Yeah. So The Guess Who is a Canadian band formed in 1965. They found international fame in the late 60s, early 70s. Share the Land was recorded in 1970, and it was their 7th album. One fact I did not know is that for the first album that The Guess Who released, Burton Cummings was not a part of the band.
Yeah, it was not part of it, no. Did not
So
know
I
that.
thought that was an interesting fact because for me, he's the voice and the face of the Guess Who's.
In terms of songs, let's just go for the side A here. I mean, Bus Rider, Hand Me Down World, Share the Land.
Oh, there's a song on here called Moon for You, Joey, and it's a real bluesy, jazzy song amongst all of the rock tunes.
Usually I like looking at the back of the vinyl. The back of the vinyl for the song titles, but this one is actually old enough and worn down that I can't actually see what some of them say here.
Yeah, the cover's not in.
So, I'm just looking down here, so if we keep looking down, that's why. There's our sheets and stuff here. But then you have like Bus Rider, Hand Me Down World, especially Hand Me Down World, and Share the Land. Like, those are some good songs, and kind of like some of them got kind of a heavy beat to them too. Like, some great songs that pretty much everybody, not everybody in the world, but in North America, like, you know those songs, and to this day they play on the radio constantly.
Yeah. I
think this is one time that the A-side isn't the weaker side. No, really?
I don't know, you could be right. For me...
I just mean in terms of like its songs are straightforward and like it's a rock album up front for the most part.
But I love the Guess Who so much that for me there's not a bad side.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm not saying in terms of bad sides, I just think it's the first time that the A side might be a tiny bit stronger. So side B, first song, Hang On To Your Life, which is awesome. So yeah, you're right, there's a bit of an outro there, but kind of, the way it's done is very The Doors-esque.
Yeah.
Like, it just goes into that spoken word with a bit of, so honestly...
A little poem outro.
Little poem outro, yeah, and honestly it sounds very Doorsy, but, so it goes, Hold On To Your Life, poem, 3 Days.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that song by name, but I did when I heard it.
Outside of that, I can't gush about it enough. And what's kind of interesting, and here I was talking about in our last video, thickness. This vinyl here is like a bulletproof vest. It's thick like a piece of steel. And it beat up, and it still sounds really good. Like, the bass lines in there had bass, they had weight to them. Paper thin Lionel Richie sounded like crap, like it was just flat. So it's just interesting the difference between this album was done in the 70s and it sounded better than the stuff that was done in the 80s as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we'll get into the specifics about the album now. The condition. We'll start off the condition. It's seen some things. It's been around, it's seen some parties probably. It's probably had things rolled on it.
The album cover is worn off, so you can tell it's been pulled out of the collection a lot.
It's kind of like an old condom packet. It's got a ring where it's worn.
Where you can see the album, yeah.
So yes, it's not in the greatest condition. The vinyl itself had a skip problem on one side, so she's banged up. Going to the price now, so I would think that this would probably fetch a lower price, and this would be $8.
Yeah.
As a low. The high, if you have a good copy of this one, 31, almost $32 for this. So this one, if you have a good copy in demand, it's worth something. It's worth almost new vinyl prices. This one is not, but still sounds great compared to even more modern stuff, and it's a classic through and through. So not left. Oh, in terms of pressing, yeah, as far as I know, I don't see it as a remaster or reissue. It's got the right labels and it's got the right sleeve. So I'm going to go with it as a first run, and it looks like it's a first run. So, rating.
Oh, this was a hell yeah.
Hell yeah, of course, man. I can definitely hell yeah all around.
In fact, I want to listen to it again today.
Yeah. So yeah, first one down. Shared the Land, The Guess Who. Excellent album.
Okay, and album number 2 is Van Halen, Fair Warning. Van Halen is an American hard rock band formed in Pasadena, California in 1972. So for me, I was never a huge Van Halen fan.
Well, and it was formed by the brothers Van Halen, right? Guitar and drummer, Eddie and Alex, and of course David Lee Roth at the start, right? It's just not Van Hagar. Let's be honest with that, right? Early 80s, okay, this is the 80s hard rock track. If you're driving a Trans Am and had a mullet, you're probably fucking listening to this 24/7. Yeah, let's just get into it. It's funny for me in my lifetime to hear an album like this. Now, music today still talks about titties and ass, drinking and doing that shit, but it's weird how this sounds like it's done by cavemen. Like it's so weird how it sounds almost cringeworthy. Like the music itself, the drums, the guitar, like the music is good. But
it's the lyrics.
The lyrics are so stupid.
And this was done. This one was recorded in 1981. So.
Oh, it's just so hilarious. It's just like a bunch of 15-year-olds trying to get some pussy, but trying to figure out what pussy is first and then get it. And they want to drink in their cars while they're driving fast.
In their Trans Ams.
The Trans Ams. It's the lyrics are so dopey, but like there's some good music. So let's talk about the first side. So it's Mean Street, So This Is Love, Push Comes to Shove, and Sinner's Swing. I mean, so what's your take on the first half?
I thought it was pretty lackluster. The only one that I'd heard of
Mean
in
Street's
the past was Mean Street.
Mean Street's
it was familiar
it's
to me.
alright.
But the rest of them I don't think I'd heard before.
The other two songs I'd never heard, and honestly, the other two songs are really just throwaway. It's quite clear when it comes to certain albums like this which songs are supposed to be good and which are just filler to have two sides to an album. Okay, so second side. Second side, Unchained, Dirty Movies, Hear About It Later, Sunday Afternoon in the Park, and One Foot Out the Door. Unchained, by far the best song on the album. Like, it's not even close.
But the opening sounded very much, and actually I was singing, it sounded very much like Panama.
It did.
And as the opening was going on, I started singing the lyrics from Panama, and it fit pretty well. So they plagiarized their own stuff.
So Unchained, for sure. I think it's Sunday Afternoon in the Park. I actually like that. I thought that one was pretty good too. I'd say it's probably the second best song on the album. I can't say that one side is stronger than the other because they're about even with two songs aside. So.
And it's funny because there's a few songs on here where there's talking parts, and to me, they were absolutely hilarious. So.
They are. It's just so dopey. It's like, want to go and get some leg? Fuck out of here. You're not getting anything in your Trans Am. Get the fuck out. So anyways, the vinyl's in great condition. The outside's in great condition. Not an original pressing. It's a reissue. Album was done in 81. This was done in 83. So this is not an original run. It's the first one I'll actually confirm that it's not an original go. Okay, so the price for this that we've been able to find has a low of $2.95 with a high of $20. So I have to say, that's kind of surprising.
Yep, it is for me too.
I kind of shocked with that a little bit. So, I'd say this album is in really good condition. I don't know if I'm going to get 20 for it, but should be able to get, $15 for that. It's kind of surprising, but yeah, there it is. All right, on to the next.
Rating.
Crawl Space.
Dumpster.
Yeah. So
And Van Halen definitely had better albums than this. Yeah, it's their fourth album.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely running out of steam at this point then. Jeez. Okay, and the final album today?
Paul Simon's Greatest Hits, etc. And there's a reason for the etc., which I'll explain in a second.
All right.
So Paul Frederick Simon's an American musician, singer, songwriter, and actor. He formed a musical partnership in 1964 with Art Garfunkel, which we all know as Simon and Garfunkel. And he went solo in 1970. So this album was released in 1977, but the reason it's called Etc. is that there are 2 new songs on this album that hadn't been released yet, so couldn't be at that time classified as greatest hits, even though they probably are now. And one of them is Slip Sliding Away and Still Crazy After All These Years.
Side A. So he said this is a compilation plus a couple of new ones, which is interesting because I don't think a lot of albums at that time did that. Where there was a greatest hits plus here's some new stuff. And usually, and I would think if you were to do that, it would be throwaway songs, but those 2 songs that they added are actually...
Yeah, they're in their own right, they're greatest hits.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I didn't realize that. So side 1 is Slip Sliding Away, Stranded in a Limousine, Still Crazy After All These Years, Have a Good Time, Duncan, Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, and Something So Right. Wow, there's a lot of songs on that side.
Yeah, and it's a live version of Duncan, and there's some really cool flute parts in that song that I really enjoyed.
First side, what songs for you stand out?
Oh man, all of them. Slip Sliding Away, Still Crazy After All These Years, Me and Julio. I wasn't familiar with Duncan.
Yeah, I never heard that.
And I absolutely love Something So Right. It's so soft and meaningful and beautiful, and Paul Simon writes great lyrics.
Know the songs, I know of them, I've heard them before, but I don't have any songs I like on there. I don't know, Still Crazy After All These Years is probably, I think, one of the better ones on that side.
Well, and they're all in my wheelhouse because they would have been on the radio as I was growing up.
For sure, and he's a good songwriter and stuff, I find his stuff so samey.
I suppose.
To me, it's just kind of, we've heard, 1 or 2 Paul Simon songs, you've kind of heard them all, and they kind of have that African beat, or that drum beat, and all that stuff. It wears on me after a couple songs, it's just for you, it's different, because like you said, that was in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
For me, it's just part of the classic rock. I can appreciate who he is and everything like that, but I don't seek out any of his stuff, and it's not to say he doesn't have good songs, he does, but yeah, I don't care about anything on that side.
And we all know he's cool because he was married to Carrie Fisher.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well.
Okay, so tell us the songs on the second side.
So Kodachrome, which I love singing along to. I Do It For Your Love. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Who doesn't know the words to that song? Mother and Child Reunion.
If you're on American Tune.
Oh, American Tune, which is a live version on this album.
Oh, so okay, a little song.
Mother and Child Reunion, Love Me Like a Rock, and
Take Me to the Mardi Gras.
Take Me to the Mardi Gras, which I don't think I ever heard that one before.
Yeah, me either. And see, for me, I don't know any of the songs on that side. I don't see they seem familiar to me. I don't know any of them, and to me, it just sounds like kind of more of the same. But for you, here we are again. It's an equal. For you, it's an equal weighted side. You would be able to pick one.
No, both sides are. If I were to listen to this, I would listen to both sides.
And it's kind of funny looking at it now in terms of songs and stuff. It's fairly evenly weighted. It's not one side doesn't have more than the other. They both have a live version of a song. They both have songs that people would know. Okay, in terms of condition, it's the album's actually in, I would say, very good condition. It's got a few dings. It's definitely been used a little bit, but it's no gouges, no rips, no tears.
The cover, yeah.
The sleeve is still in good condition inside. The vinyl itself is still in pretty good condition. It was a little dusty, but once it's cleaned up, I didn't notice any scratches. So I'd give it for me, I think that'd be about a medium quality. So the range, the low end was $2.99, which is hilarious because I think that's probably the cost when it was bought new. When someone bought it new, it's probably how much they spent on it was $2.99. So
yeah, I don't know.
It's just kind of funny how some of these vinyls from time to time have stickers on them, and when you see the original price, it's just kind of funny that they haven't changed the price. And I think this one probably fit in the middle somewhere
Yeah.
at 735. It's in pretty good condition. Like I said, the vinyl's in really excellent condition. So as far as I can find, this is the first run for Canada. I don't see any alternatives. The labels match, the labels on the vinyl match. And so yeah, so rating time.
For me, it's a hell yeah.
Crawl space. And not in a negative term like, fuck that album. Just the crawl space, you whip it out once in a while, you listen to it, be like, oh yeah, it's all right.
Okay, that's it for today.
That's the end of today's episode. Thank you for
Leave
joining
your
us.
comments below. Subscribe.
Comment, subscribe, likes. If you guys can suggest anything that you'd like to see or have us talk about, let us know. Because we're really starting to get into the meat of it now, and we're going to come across some really eclectic stuff. So, yeah, anything you guys like to hear, let us know. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.